Welcome all. It's great to be here. I'm glad you are here. And I'm happy to be speaking about our program and helping you understand a little bit about what is in store for you as a psych major here at NLU. So if there are any questions along the way, please feel free to type them in the chat. I'll be taking a look at that. I'll be sticking around later. So if you think of questions along the way, I'm always happy to answer those. One of the first things that I wanted to share with everybody is, one of the best parts of my job is getting to have personal conversations with students. And I really love when students are able to help me understand what it is they're interested in, what their goals are, what they want their career to be, what their professional aspirations are. And there's a thread that I think is common amongst all of our students at NLU, but certainly for our psychology students, which is our students want to help people, right? We're in this major because we want to help people in all kinds of ways. And I suspect that that's a similar experience that many of you are having. It was definitely an experience that I was having early on in my education, and still is part of my driving force here as not only an instructor, but as department chair of the psych program here in the undergrad college. So what is it that you'll be learning as a psych major? Well, you're going to develop some foundational understanding of psychological concepts, right? Some of you might have already been exposed or taken some psychology course in high school, and that's great. You're going to dive into much more depth and detail with that as a psych major. What do we study in psychology? Well, to put it briefly, we really want to understand learning about human behavior, why it is that we do what we do as people, right? We want to understand human cognition, why we think what we think. And then lastly, we want to explore and understand human emotion, right? Why we feel the way we feel in all kinds of experiences, right? And everything else in between. And so as a student here in your freshman year, you actually begin to dive into our psychology content. So when you're freshman year in your first term, you're already enrolled in Psych 101, where you get that foundational understanding of basic psych concepts. Sophomore year, we move forward into lifespan development, where we begin to learn about how we develop as people over time, right, from birth to death. And then once you hit your junior year, you really dive into all of your major courses, and we have a large variety of courses that range from studying abnormal psychology, where you talk about disorders, where we dive into culture-related courses, right? We understand theories of personality. We talk about human sexuality. We dive into community psychology and the interventions that we can have in our community. So we really have a broad range of classes and courses that we offer that really help develop a really solid foundation. And the slide that you see here on the screen, the Skillful Psychology Student, this is developed in combination with the American Psychological Association, which is the type of courses that we take and the assignments that are in them and the type of information that you learn in our curriculum is all designed to help foster these types of skills for you as a student, right? So we develop analytical thinking, critical thinking, oral skills, right? Written skills, all with the idea to be able to articulate the information, understand the information that you're learning, and be able to apply that in your future work settings, right? We can move forward here to the next slide. So in addition to the major courses that you primarily start taking in your junior year, you'll also choose a minor. And the minors that you see here are the minors that we typically advise students that pair nicely with our psychology major. So we have our human services minor, which has a focus on the different types of human services and social services that are offered in the community. And that can look like very skills-based courses, much like interviewing or understanding groups or multiculturalism in the community courses, right? Education. So many of our students are interested in working in some capacity in an education environment. So a minor in education would be a wonderful pairing for that. Similarly, for those interested in a different career path in the justice system, right? Criminal justice obviously is a very logical choice for that. And lastly, communications is an option that will help prepare students in their own writing skills and in business-minded skills. So if you're sort of entrepreneurial in nature or can see yourself working even in other business settings, that a psychology degree can also bolster and do well for you. A communication major a communication minor is a very viable option. And then for concentrations, we offer a general psychology concentration, which is our broad range of courses that our students take. This is often done in tangent with your career advisor or your student success coach that will help you make these decisions along the way about what is going to be the best minor for your own career interests. I can move forward here. A career outlook. So we have these job titles listed here on our screen, where we can see the different types of job roles available for our bachelor's level practitioners once earning your degree, and our associated salaries and job growth forecasts. I think it's never been more relevant, right? Given our pandemic over the last year, that we see such a need for increased services across the board: mental health services, social services, rehab services, after school care services, all kinds of really critical services in our community. We have a need for these, right? And so I think we're naturally going to continue to see lots of growth across the board. But nonetheless, no matter where your interests are, and not that you have to know what your career interests are, you may know that, or you may be exploring that, and that's great. There's lots and lots of career paths that a bachelor level professional in psychology can go. And these are some of those options that you could consider, right? And we're gonna throw it over in a little bit here to our Career Bridge professionals, who are gonna speak with greater detail into what that assistance is like as you embark on your career journey. We are incorporating these examples of long-term careers because these are often some of those ideal jobs that many of our students are looking to get into in their long-term career goals. So some of you might have interested in being a clinical psychologist or a counselor or a therapist, right? Someone who provides mental health services, right, for the treatment of particular types of mental disorders, right? Or working in school settings as a school counselor and school psychologist. We're sharing this information with you to inform that the idea is our foundational bachelor's degree here also is meant to help prepare you for continuing your education should you have your interest in these types of careers in which they require advancing your education and also advancing your own practice. And we're very invested in wanting to help our students understand those pathways to your various career interests, and then connecting you with those resources along the way so that you can have a nice transition either into your career or into continuing your education in graduate school.